Moms often feel the pressure to provide the perfect summer for kids. Well, we want school to start knowing we milked every last moment. We feel like that sometimes, right? But you know what? Our summers don't need to be so high stakes. In fact, my next guest believes that self-inflicted pressure prevents us from truly enjoying these special summer days. So we have asked her to give us a daily summer challenge. These are things we can do every single day to forget the pressure and remember the present. Thanks for being here, Heather. We were talking about just the genesis of summer vacation. Talk to me about how we even started doing summer vacation and how that applies now.
Yeah, really where it even started, right? So there's a myth that summer break came about because of the agrarian calendar, which means that families who had farms needed to bring their kids home because they needed more labor force, and that's where it started. So they brought their kids home to help with that. Some people believe that, some people don't. But then it moves into kind of the mid-1800s where U.S. families who were wealthy, who had more money, during the summer months, it was really, really hot. And so they would grab their kids and they would head to the countryside so that they could avoid the heat and also have those different experiences. Well, then once we started to do more and more research to understand how our minds worked and even what kids, especially what children needed, we came and now look at our brains like a muscle. And we know that anytime we overwork a muscle, use it too much, keep it strung too tight for too long, it breaks, it gets tired. And we also know that kids need time to play. And so that's where we are now with summer break, right? We're in this place where minds need a break and they need a rest, and kids desperately need time to play, which is something that's kind of going by the wayside, right? So if we step back for a minute and think about where summer break originated, it's this option for our kids to play, for them to have a break. It's time for families to connect, for us to serve and be connected. We kind of want to go back to our roots when we think about what summer should look like in our families and take away maybe what social media or what society has told us summer needs to look like, or even where we shame and guilt ourselves about summer, and go back to those really basic things where summer break originated from.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we even pack our summer more full than what it is during the year. Okay, so you're here, you're going to share Studio 5's Daily Summer Challenge. This is for moms, grandmas, anyone can really benefit from this.
Anybody. So what we're gonna do is we're looking at this as 5 things you can do once a day. So every single day, we're gonna work to do these 5 things. And they're an attempt to allow us to actually enjoy what these summer months are meant to be. You know, you saying that they're even more packed, I think I've heard that every single day since school got out. Every hour on the hour in my office is, how are things? Oh, they are so much busier now than they were even during the school year. And so we don't look forward to the respite, to the break, to the opportunity to connect. So we're gonna start once a day by first changing our perspective. Every single day, I want us to take a moment to consider how we're viewing these summer months. So for example, if you're hearing in your head, a good mom does X, Y, and Z during the summer, we want to change that, right? If we're feeling shame because we're comparing ourselves in our minds to what other families are doing, we want to change those perspectives. So the first thing we're going to do is every single day, check in with yourself just for a second to make sure that your mindset is in a really good place for these summer months. Now, that perspective is going to change when we hit midway through, right? Midway through summer, we start to hear things like, I can't take these kids anymore. These kids are driving me crazy. Is this over yet? Well, that mindset, it will keep us from enjoying these months with our kids. So every day, once a day, just pause long enough to make sure that your mind is lined up with who you want to be this summer. And that's where we're going to start.
Okay, awesome, easy. Maybe that's part of like a daily meditation or something like that. Change your perspective. Second is commit them to memory. I don't know what them is. What are we committing to
Our
memory?
kids.
Okay.
If you're committing something to memory, in particular your kids, it means that you're down on their level. It means you've had to spend some time with them in order to commit something about them to memory. But for example, take a moment to commit to memory the freckle on your daughter's shoulder. Take a moment to spend with your children and engage to commit what their little faces look like when they're concentrating on something. Or commit to memory what they do or how they light up when they jump on a bike and go to the neighbor's house to play with a friend. Once a day, take enough time to commit something about your child to your memory, something you can hang on to, something that helps you get to know them better. And it's a really, really great place to start.
And appreciate them too, and appreciate the little things. And I think your next point kind of goes along with this, because that's what I thought of when you started talking about this, to document the moment. Because I know we've had photographers in here talking about that, like, look, notice their pinky finger, how cute it is, and take a photo of that. So how do you say we should document?
Yeah, first we've got to just simply let our minds, or allow our minds to want to document what's going on. And not because we're doing big, grand things, but because we're actually in a moment and we want to remember it. So it could be small things. It could be that you take a picture of something once a day and you put those things together to remember what this summer looks like. You could write something down. You could hand your kids a Polaroid or a disposable camera, or even most of them probably have phones, and they could take a picture and just put a little note next to it in Google Photos every single day. But take a minute to document. Remember, these things are meant to help us be present. They're meant to help us go back to the roots of summer break and have time and play and connect and work together. And so documenting the moments will help us do that.
And not even just the big stuff, but just eating breakfast, or just the things that are mundane that you will treasure later.
Right. I know in our home, when we eat breakfast in the summer, everyone who's sitting at the breakfast table is in a swimming suit. Everyone. Our kids get up because they're swimmers, so summer's a big deal for us here in Utah because the outdoor pools are always open. And so swim team starts at 8 o'clock. And so the picture that we have that very quickly represents summer for us, or documents a moment, is a breakfast table with cereal bowls, and every single one of our girls is in a swimming suit.
Love it.
Right? It's so basic, it's happening every day, but we document those moments so that we can remember them. That's what summer is to us.
Okay, so that's your third one. The next one is, I love it because it involves you, mom or grandma or whoever. Show them your skills.
Our skills, right?
Not working on their skills per se, but yours.
But ours. It's time for us to let our kids get to know us. You know, we have solid research that continues to show up that teaches us that kids' self-esteem is higher, especially our daughters, when they know their mothers. This is really, really important. Our kids need to know who we are. If you can do a cartwheel, go do one with your kids today. If you know how to ride a skateboard, go show them. If you are really great at baking brownies, bake 50 batches over the summer and teach them how to do it. But there has to be time where we remember who we are and we take those skills and abilities and we show them those things. Now, sometimes we get caught up in those having to be something bigger or extravagant, and it doesn't. Maybe you're someone who's really good at managing your emotions, and so you allow summer to be a time where you teach and have conversations with your kids. Maybe you don't really play the piano much, but you're pretty good at it. You just don't have time, and so they get to hear your home filled with plucks on a piano during the summer. Share yourself with them so they come to know who they are, so they in turn can increase their own capacity, their own self-esteem, which is a great thing to do during the summer.
And I love that because it forces us to take a little inventory too. I think sometimes we forget who we are as moms. So that makes us pause for a moment and be like, what am I good at?
Well, and even just, am I willing to share myself with them, right? That we are willing to do those things. And then last, which has to do with all of us, but really comes back to us too, is this willingness to be curious and carefree during the summer. You know, if we're curious, that means we're asking ourselves, what would it be like if I was silly today? Now, that's a challenging one for me. I'm great with our kids being silly, but I'm not always the one to be silly. But if I'm curious, it's me asking, what would it be like if I was silly at the pool today, or if I was silly at home? What would it be like if I left the dishes and went outside instead of doing them? I'm curious to know, right? I've tested that one. When I get back,
your house would not burn down.
It
I'm
wouldn't.
Just telling you.
And I wouldn't lose my mom card, and everything would still be there waiting, and it would be just fine. We should be curious about what it's like to say yes more than saying no this summer. So we can cultivate this summer spirit by once a day being curious. Now that leads us to the last one, which is also once a day trying to be carefree, to worry less about productivity and more about connection. Imagine if part of that changing our perspective was once a day asking ourselves, how can I let go of productivity and grab onto connectivity? And even better, what if we redefined what connective looked like? And what if being productive was actually being connected? It would change everything we did this summer. This shame we put on ourselves that it has to look a certain way, it really does keep our families from connecting. So we got to go back to our roots. And if we're up for it, let's see if we can't once a day do these 5 things and see if it can't bring us the exact summer we're looking for.
And I love it because these are 5 things anyone can do. You don't have to have special talents for any of these, but it does take a little bit of introspection.
It does.
So thank you, Heather. Okay, so we are challenging you. Studio 5 challenge. for you to do these 5 things every single day. And as a reminder, we've created a free printable checklist for you to download, so you can check that out right now on our website. And you can find Heather's contact info there as well.